In today's episode, I've got a really, really special guest today, which I'm sure you're all going to enjoy. His name is Nate Wilde, and what he does is really unique. I mean, what he does is actually help coaches to actually create experiences from their events. So that ultimately results in more high ticket sales, which is what we all want, right? So, welcome to the stage, Nate.
It is a pleasure to be here, Terence. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, Nate. I just want to know what are some of the results you have gotten for clients that have come and worked with you?
Absolutely. We work a lot with coaches to build their exclusive in-person events and even virtual events to close their high ticket deals. That's kind of our focus and realm. So a lot of our clients we shoot for at very least a minimum of 20 to 30% close rate in a room. So if you have, let's say, 50 people coming to your event, oh, I can't do math this early in the morning. Whatever that math is, let's
So
I
30% of
got
50, that's 15 people.
That's 10 to 15.
Right.
There we go. Yeah, 10 to 15 people from this room closed on a high ticket program. Gosh, that is crazy. I usually am better at math than that.
Yep,
But
I'll trust your
we
word
had
on
one
that.
room in particular, if you're looking for our best. Yeah, there we go. No, we had one room in particular that if you're looking for our very best close rate, best event that we've done, we had 65% of a room close,
Whoa.
of a room of about 30. So well over half of the people. We had an excellent experience out in Orlando. Turned the corner, gave the sales pitch for it was a high ticket fractional service for businesses to kind of scale them up to the next level. And well
Mm.
over half, I think 17 or 18 of the people in the room decided it was for them and it made sense to them. So really an amazing close rate there. So same thing in another room that we had. This wasn't for coaches. It was for a blockchain project
Right.
that one of our friends or one of our clients, I guess, is was launching. With that group, they closed about $600,000 worth of
Whoa.
deals with the one room with about 20 people in the room. So it gets
Wow.
exciting, like, the things that you can do if you do events, whether they're in person or webinar or whatever it might be correctly, you can close immense rooms, like, you can close huge deals that change the game for you, so we get excited about those.
Wow. So I'm just curious, like before they came to you, like were they doing their own events and what kind of close rates were they getting? And then after you came in, what was the difference? I'm just trying to get a measurement here.
Yeah. Most of our clients, when they come to us, they if they're doing events, they're usually doing virtual events, and as you know, because I know
Mhm.
you sit in the virtual events world a lot as well,
Yeah.
most people don't do them super well, and I don't wanna sound, like, blunt or anything like that, but they put all the time and effort into it, and it it doesn't convert for them, whether it's the room is wrong, they bring in the wrong people, or just the pitch and the full itinerary of the event towards their goal isn't
Mhm.
working the way they want it to. So a lot of my clients, yeah, they either they aren't doing anything because they don't know where to start, or they're doing small events and just kind of throwing stuff together on their
Mm.
own, um, and are frustrated because that hasn't been working for them. It doesn't convert. It doesn't work for them as they might want it to. So.
Got it.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, Nate, what got you into this? Tell us a bit about your background, your business journey, how you got into this thing, because
Yeah.
it's quite unique what you do.
Sure. It is. I love what I do. So how many 3 years ago we did I was working with my business partner in his company that at the time they did podcast monetization. It's
Mhm.
Josh Tapp with Pantheon FM if anybody's interested, but I guess they don't do podcast monetization anymore specifically. But I was doing contract work with him, and the funny thing that we noticed is that everybody and their dog, like every coach we talked to, every consultant, a digital agency we talked to, they're like, I want to start a podcast and I want to do a retreat. Like those are the two things that I want to build my business to.
Mhm.
But those two things always got pulled to the back burner
Mm.
and never got started until somebody came and gave them a really good done for you service or done with you service
Mhm.
that could make it happen and make it feasible for them. So Josh was doing the podcasting and building everything there.
Hmm.
We hosted a couple of events, and I'm a traveler. Like I could show you my travel list of places I want to go. I think that it's probably coming close to 1,000 places long, uh,
Whoa.
across the world. So there's no world where I'm going to be able to hit all of those, but I'm going to sure try. So when we started talking about the idea of building an events business or an experience design business around retreats first and foremost, but then building it up into in-person events all over the world, kind of one-day experiences. That got me really excited because I was like, "This is perfect! Like, we can set them, and then I can stay another week and cross off 10 places on my list, and just make it amazing." So that is that's really how it started. Is with our network of coaches and consultants. Everybody wanted to do a retreat, so we're like, okay, we do that. Like, let's make it happen. Let's start it. So that was almost 3 years ago now that we started that and began building that front. So we love it. We've been building it ever since.
And how many events have you helped to design and do for your clients,
Sure. Oh no, I don't have an exact number right now, but I bet
roughly?
we're probably close to probably somewhere in the range of 30 to 50. Well, that's a very wide range, but I'd put it probably right in the middle of between ones that we've gone out and fully facilitated on or been paid to do some consultation and building. I'd say probably between 40 and 45 events across the board. So we've got some good ones under our belt. We do our own events a lot of time as well, so I'm including those in there. But we do a lot of good stuff. I'd say around 40 to 45.
Nice. So I'm just curious, like when all these coaches or people want to sell high ticket offers come to you, what are some of the common mistakes that you see them make, and that kind of make you cringe a little bit? But it's like
Mhm.
everybody does it. I'm sure there's a few of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of our most unique things that we do for especially when they're trying to do high ticket sales from the event, or if they're trying to brand and network from this event. One thing that I see a lot of people do is think they have to sell tickets. They have to get paid seats in there that
Mm,
everybody is paying a couple $100s or even a couple $1,000 to come to an event like this. And especially in the past year, we've really leaned into the idea and the psychology of
mm,
free events, like pure
mm,
value events. Almost all of the events that we've done in the past year have been free. They're
mm,
events we tell our clients to keep them free, to provide this as a value first thing for the clients, which
mm,
obviously doesn't give them a direct return on their investment with the event, but there's a certain psychology, whether it's an in-person or a virtual event or whatever it might be, to bringing this to their network and saying, "Hey, I've got this really amazing room. Like, there's people in the room that you need to meet and need to come and participate in.
mm,
There's no charge. Just get yourself out there, or like I'm comping your ticket to be there. I
mm,
just want you in the room." There's something really, really valuable about that and about building that side up,
mm,
that I think a lot of people miss. They feel like they have to go out and sell it, or else they're
mm.
just going to get a room full of people that they don't want in there. Which is it will happen if you market it incorrectly, which is where you come in.
Mm,
But the whole goal is to invite the absolute best people and the people that fit your offer and people that fit your niche.
mhm,
If you invite them correctly, then you can fill the room with the right sort of people, whether it's free or paid. That's
yeah.
that's probably the biggest mistake, or I wouldn't even call it, I guess, a mistake, but difference that has led to us getting
Mm.
our high close rates and just a different psychology around the event. So, do you want more than one, or
Yeah,
I
I want more than
probably think of
one.
four off
Give
the
me
top of my head?
three.
Yeah, three. I can do that for sure. So, beyond that, I mean, just in general, I think that you'll like this one because I think this works with both of our skill sets and our realms. A lot of people, especially if they're trying to do events on their own, when they're looking at the event and they start it, it looks digestible. It looks like something they can make work. But we both know when you get into it, whether it's an in-person event or webinar or virtual, whatever sort of event it is, as soon as they get into it with the filling and marketing and the logistics and conversations with everybody, questions, actual like content building, follow up after the event, sales pitch, whatever you're doing, um, it is way more to bite off than most people should.
Mm,
Now, there probably are instances where you can get away with doing your own by yourself,
mm,
especially if it's like a consistent informal sort of event. But I think with most events, it is not only beneficial, but almost important that you hire other people and bring other people whose expertise is filling the events or whose expertise is curating the experience towards
mm,
your end goal of the event so that you can focus on what you do best, which is teaching whatever coaching things that you bring to people or providing the value that you get paid for. That's really the whole goal. So, and what I've seen with that is people knock their head against the wall paying nothing and investing nothing into their events
mm,
and getting no returns on the back end. But then when they come in and invest a little bit on great marketing, on great
mm.
curation of the event, that's when the sales start to happen. That's when it starts to pull. So really I would put that as my second big mistake that I see a lot of people doing. The third one, and probably actually one of the biggest ones that I see, is when it comes to curating the content of the event, whether it's a webinar or in-person event. um, People come in and offer too much. They give their whole offer
Mm,
stack. They give a couple of different options and a couple different asks for people on their events. We've done a lot of events, and everyone that I've seen that offers too much, and really too much to me, I always tell my clients, ask for one thing. Give them one thing to think about and to consider at the end of your event. Because if you ask for more than that, even two or three, it starts to complicate it and you lose the traction and the momentum that you just built this entire event for. And vice versa, the ones where you ask one simple thing of people in this event, those are the ones that actually get the sales. So if
mm,
that's one step in the direction of their high ticket coaching program or their mastermind, that's how you actually get 20, 40, 50% of the room, 65% of the room to take that step forward and to put money down or to open up a profile, whatever it might be for each person's different group. So that really is, everybody tries to just chunk everything together and bring everything into that one space, when really the more you put in, the less people take out. It suddenly becomes really distracting and they're not sure what step you want them to take. It just kind of
mm.
makes it more difficult. So that's what I get really passionate about that one. So, 'cause it makes or breaks events very easily.
Yeah, love it, love it. Thanks for those tips. And I just want to talk about those three things that you just pointed
Sure.
out. I think like with
Mhm.
especially if you're not a well-known coach and you're trying to sell your tickets to your event straight away, is like it's super hard. It's super costly.
Mhm.
I mean, it costs like hundreds of dollars to get people to fork out like a $97 ticket, right? And then, you still get like crappy people that fork out $97. Doesn't mean that they're qualified at all. And one of the things that we do on our side is we often suggest that they actually apply for the events, right? So you have some qualifying questions, right? So
Mm.
that you can weed out those that don't qualify and that may not suit your room. So that's one way to do it. So yeah, totally the free thing can still work provided you qualify them, right? And yeah, just totally the second thing is like you mentioned, you should work with experts. And it's actually, I spoke to Dan Kennedy's copywriter just this week, and I told him what I do, and he said, "Dude, like marketing events is like the hardest thing. Like he says, it's so freaking hard." And this
Sure.
is someone who used to market Dan Kennedy, right? So like he knows what he's talking about. He's marketed so many things, and he says that's one of the hardest things. And if the coach thinks that they can do it themselves, well, you know, that's a lot to do. Copywriting, running funnels, designing funnels, so much stuff, and designing the experience. Oh gosh. So
Mhm.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And yeah, with that offering too much thing, I just got a question on that. I would say that,
Mhm.
instead of like trying to fix three problems that they might have, you fix one problem, but you fix it thoroughly, which then leads to the next problem.
Mhm.
Am I right in saying that? I just want to get clarity on that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, if you approach it right, you can tell them there's three problems. These are your three problems. Like you need to know each of these problems and everything. Let's focus on this first one and give you action items for that. Not
Mm,
only does it not confuse them or give them any issues and they'll take that step, but
mhm.
also it's an excellent hook and brings people in because then it's like, okay, you have these other two. And I'd love to help you with those, but we're out of time on the webinar. So if you want to come work with us, come talk more with me. I'd love to help you with those. So yes, absolutely, without a doubt, that's an excellent way to approach it.
Awesome. So say for example, for a webinar for business owners, you might help them to solve their marketing problem. But then what's the next logical problem is that they might have a
Hmm.
sales problem next because they can't convert the leads.
Yeah.
Then after that, what's next? You might
Hmm.
have a systems and operations problem because you're bringing in all the sales and the customers, but you can't deliver. So yeah, I think that's really
Yeah.
great.
It is. I love that. That's a good way to approach it because then nobody gets lost. You're keeping as much of the room focused in as possible. They aren't getting
Yeah.
distracted or getting pulled away. So no, that's a really good point.
Love it. Okay, I love to find out like three things you do to make like your events amazing. Like, is there three tips you could share that people could
Yeah.
implement?
Ooh. Absolutely. Yes. I was gonna write these down before we even started. But I do have some really good ones here. So I would say the first thing, about 85% of our work specifically, we aren't just an event coordination company. We do the vast majority of our work beforehand, before we even get on, get to the event or get started with that. So I'd probably say two or three of those are from that. The first big one that I think people always forget about or overcomplicate is to always start with the end in mind. Like, what is your simple goal that you want this event to accomplish? And I say simple for a good reason. Like, it needs to be something small and achievable and focusable that you can work towards. So, if that's for most of my clients and for most people with webinars or in person events, it's going to be high ticket sales.
Mm,
That's the big goal there. And if that's the case, that your goal is, I want to make as many high ticket sales as possible, that's great. You have to set that goal intentionally and make everything about that event focused on that. Everybody that you're inviting, all the marketing that you're doing is focused on getting potential buyers in seats. All that you're curating the content for, talking to people, even like your marketing and one pagers that you're sending out to people is all focused on that end goal and everything. So, which I think leads really well into the second point, I would say,
mm,
is have good conversations and good communications with your attendees. Now, obviously, I know a lot of the people who might be listening to this and work with you, Terence, are they're doing larger scale, multiple hundred people webinars,
mm.
as I understand, if that's correct. But
Yeah.
so obviously, with that, it's probably not super feasible for you or one of your or one of your team members to jump on a 15-minute call with every single person. That would take weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my clients because almost all of our events are between 20 to 40 people. Like they're smaller and exclusive events. But even for larger scale webinars or even in person events, if you can develop a really good communication system that they feel like there's actual touch points, they have their questions answered before they even ask them, um, and you're also prepping the sale. They know that at the end of this, hey, like, oh my gosh, have you heard about what Terrence is doing? Like, what, like, are you already a client of his? Well, at the webinar, he's going to be talking a little bit about what he does. I don't know if you've considered it before, but listen closely to it because it's
Mm,
something I think would benefit you. That's the conversation and kind of a line that I use for all of my clients, because then
mm,
it's prepping it. It's not like when a sales pitch comes that it's suddenly dropping on people and surprising them. It's the whole webinar and the whole experience. They're like, dang, maybe I should work with this person. Like they're amazing. Everything they're giving me is very wise and smart.
mm,
Maybe it's worthwhile. So that's what I would say with communication is develop it and do it as effectively as possible to capture as many people as you possibly can. So
mm.
um and then the third tip I'd say is going to the other side of the event, and it goes right along with communication, but have a solid follow-up structure, because the way that events work psychologically is people come in, whether it's in person or virtual or webinar or whatever it might be. They come in, they spend anywhere from a couple hours all the way up to a couple days, like a week in this event. And most events play off of energy.
Yeah.
The hosts get really excited and they do what they can to hype people up and type in the chat and answer these questions and whatever it might be. And so by the end of the event, they're hyped. They're so excited to go and figure out their marketing or to go put together their life and personal development plan and make it happen. But the shelf life of that excitement is not long at all. In fact, it's I would call it very, very short. It's unfortunately that way. So the goal is obviously with high ticket sales, you want to sell as many people in the event before they leave and go home as possible, because that's the time where they're going to feel hyped and excited and confident that they can accomplish things with you more than any other time. The second they get home or log off, not the second, but pretty quick, they're going to start to get distracted and
Yeah.
remember other things and push their other way. So if you don't have a really solid follow up process, which includes texts, emails, whatever it might be, almost immediately once they get off of the call. A lot of my clients, I have the night of that end, we usually end with a dinner. And as soon as people get back, I send out a survey that
Mm,
tells me how they enjoyed the event, anything that they really, really took from the event that they loved. But then also kind of like I have little kind of soft questions to gauge interest, see if they want um to buy or if they're interested in that. And if they are, then I send them to a booking call to schedule something with our sales guys or with my
mm.
client's sales guys so that they can get on a call very quickly and have everything they need to move forward from there. I think that's key to actually capturing as much as they possibly can. So those are my three. I like those three. Those are solid ones.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I love them too. I mean, I myself got a lot from it because I think most coaches they neglect the pre-event communication, and like yeah, especially like with as you mentioned with some of my clients' webinars, there are a few hundred people, right? So it's pretty hard to communicate with everyone one on one, and I think that
Oh,
that's where you could use maybe assistants, which some of my clients do, and they actually call up, make human contact, just to just get an understanding, get a feel of what the participants actually want from the event. But I don't think they actually seed the what's gonna happen kind of thing, which I do like, because so that they're not like, oh, coming to the
yeah.
event and like, oh, I wondered if there's going to be a pitch. Now you tell them up front that it's going to be a pitch, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, that's the one or a couple of larger events that we've done. The clients that we were using had a pretty solid team of assistants that
Mm,
there was a couple hundred people coming to these events, but they called every single person that
mm,
registered and said they wanted to come and had a conversation like, tell me about your business, tell me about like what your business needs to succeed right now.
mm,
And the beauty with that is they had different like scripts, email scripts that they sent out based on that. So if they said, "Oh, well, I just really need more clients. Like I really need to ramp up my marketing and bring more people in," or like I need help on operations, like I'm really struggling here. the team would send out the script based on that. So they'd have a 10-minute call and then push out a script saying, "Oh my gosh, this webinar is going to be perfect for you. Make sure to listen specifically for when they talk about this side of
Mm,
marketing. It's going to be amazing for you, or this side of operations and fulfillment." Um, and also check this out. Terence is going to give us like pitch at the end. He'll mention everything he's doing. If it makes sense, I'd love to continue our conversation and see if we can work it out. So I use you as
yeah.
a good example here. But yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love it. And the post event stuff that's so good as well because like yeah, people just fizzle out pretty quickly unless you re-engage with them, right? So I think that's something a lot of people are missing. All
Oh,
right. So
absolutely. Most people, I think it's you lose out.
I'm just curious, Nate. With webinars, what do you think are some
Mhm.
of the things that people could do better with webinars to make their webinars more successful? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think let me gather my thoughts here. I think some of the biggest changes and shifts that with webinars specifically that I think become mistakes or not that they leave cash on the table. They make it so that people don't have the best experience possible.
Mm,
Something things that I would absolutely recommend for webinars and things of that sort is um, first off, I would tell people to, in any way that you can, whether it's through an application form or through having assistants call them or building whatever system out, know who you're talking to. Be aware of who's in the room, what industries are represented, what sort of spaces you have. Because I can tell you, if you go into a room, if there's 500 people in the room, but you know that there's 50 real estate agents, if you take in a couple of times, lean back on that and say, "Oh my gosh, well, for you realtors out there, this is what I'd really recommend." Every single one of those 50 realtors are gonna that their interest is gonna just jump because then it's not just a webinar, just some random thing that they came to that they're
mm,
not totally sure about, not sure what it looks like. It's okay, this guy's speaking to me. Like he's speaking my language, talking directly to how I can
mm,
build my business or market or
mm,
whatever it might be. So I would really recommend know who you're talking to in some way because that changes everything about the webinar itself. Another point, I'll reiterate a point I already made, but keep it simple. Keep your asks simple. All you can do, really, if you ask people to jump 10 feet with what they're doing and make big shifts and changes, the vast majority of people aren't going to do it. And if they do, frankly, I don't think that they needed the webinar to get sold. Like they
mm,
just needed to have a conversation with you. The most important thing that you can bring to people is just giving them a single step forward that builds momentum. So it's just one step in the right direction for people because that keeps it so much more simple. And I can promise, like numbers wise, we've done the math on this. The groups and the events where people give a single step forward and build momentum and follow up afterwards to keep that momentum forward, those are the ones that they close and move 40-60% of the room and have huge shifts, and you know that more than 40 or 60% of the room want to take that step. There's others that cost is an issue or timing, whatever it might be. But then on the flip side, the rooms where they try to give multiple options. We had one just last month
mm.
in Salt Lake City, Utah, that they gave 5 or 6 different options, and it was really
Oof.
cool. It was very educational. It's a blockchain project. I loved what they were talking about, but they give 4 to 6 different steps and different options and things like that. And I came around and was talking to people and sent out the link, the survey after the fact, and everybody told me like this seems amazing. Like I love the project, I love everything. I just don't know where to start. I don't really know how to do this. And we didn't capture people and keep their attention after the fact. Like the sales were very, very low from the event
Mm,
because it was too spread out. It's
mm,
interesting and it gives people a lot of value or intrigue in the moment, but it doesn't give them something to do right then. And that is what hurt them more than anything. Those are the two big ones. I probably have another one that I can apply to webinars. Oh, I have one other one, and Terrence is gonna laugh at this one because when I got on this call, I just moved offices and I didn't have my mic set up. I have it now, so I hope I sound a lot better, but I don't have my camera set up or anything. On webinars, I will tell you the first thing, if they don't know you, the first impression they get of you is the second you step on that webinar is they're looking at your camera and saying, that lighting looks awful. Like, it's crazy. We don't like, most people don't try to judge, don't try to do anything, but people make snap judgments whether like they like to or not. That's just kind of how that works. And that is honestly a great thing to push out there is you can lose a lot of the audience and then spend the entire webinar trying to gain them back and maybe succeeding, maybe not. If you get on and your camera looks like mine does now, I don't think this is going out on video because my camera's abysmal, but but that's really the point is you can lose people or gain them immediately based off of that.
Mm.
Which is so funny that we're talking about that, and I'm so guilty of it right now, but and then vice versa, you can gain people immediately where if they can get on the call and even if all the names were gone, they look at yours and they say, "Yeah, that guy looks like an expert." And then you start talking like, "Okay, yeah, that guy is the expert." You've already just gained so much traction there. And the experience of that is so much better for everybody. They immediately have a certain amount of trust in you and belief that you might actually have good things to tell them, which helps a lot. So those are my three. I
Yeah.
think I'm sticking with those.
Yeah, I love them. I think that's so important. All three of them are so good, and I think a lot of what I see as well is like people often go to webinars, and it's not just about the background and your quality of the camera, but also how you dress, how you look as well. I think that's also important because first impressions do count, and as you say, it might not be conscious; it might just be a subconscious thing, but that could kill your sale.
Absolutely. Immediately. It can so quickly
Yeah.
kill that.
All right. Well, Nate, I think that was such a great interview. I think, I personally got lots of value from it. So I think our listeners will get plenty of value from this as well. So thank you so much. I'm just curious, like, in what scenarios do you work with people and what kind of people are you looking for to work with? And if they want to find out more about you, how can they do that?
Yeah. The type of people that get the most value out of what we do are the type of coaches and agencies and just businesses in general that their offers and their world is complicated. It's things that really you can't jump on a Zoom call and close a deal with them in 30 minutes. It's people that really you need to develop good relationships with um, outside of that call, really. And usually those people have very large lists of people that they've got on sales calls with, and they say, "Oh, I'm really interested in what you do, but it's not the right time. It isn't all these things, all these different smoke screens and objections."
Hmm.
And they have these lists of people that absolutely would come to an event, do webinars, do whatever they need to provide a little value because they see that you're an expert, they see that you're good at what you do, but they
Yeah.
probably don't fully understand it. So the
Mm.
best scenarios and the best people that get the most out of what we do are those that have kind of a complex offer that they will build their business best based off of relationships. That's the best approach. So a lot of life coaches, business coaches in that realm. A lot more high ticket SaaS and tech companies have been coming into our world recently
Mm.
that just need to be introduced and brought into bigger and better worlds to grow and improve.
And how can they find you, Nate?
Come talk to me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on there and am always looking for bigger and better there. So it's again, my name is Nate Wilde, Wild with an E. I'm sure it's probably going to be on like the episode title or in the description or something. So LinkedIn is absolutely the best spot there. Just shoot me a message and say that you're from Terrence's podcast, and we can chat from there.
Right. Okay. So it's Nate Wilde from Odigogo Events. Is that correct?
Odigos
Odigos
Events.
Events. Okay. I had a double go there, but yeah,
Mhm.
close enough, I guess. Sorry.
Sure. I think it counts still. You're fine.
All right, Nate. Thank you again for appearing on our podcast, and hopefully we can connect again in future on other projects.
I hope so too. Terence, you're the best. I love your podcast. This is good stuff.